And it says, I'm terrified you're about to do what you just did over the last, 6, 8, 12 weeks. So I'm just going to send signals to you constantly saying, eat more of that, eat more of that. And what I'm doing, I'll hoard it just in case you try and starve me of it again. All right, before we get into this, I just want to say, if you've clicked it because you've suffered anything similar, please go see a doctor. Please go reach out, talk to someone. I am not the right person to give you the advice. And also, I'm not trying to equate this to people that have had super duper serious eating disorders. The problem with the term eating disorder is it's a term all of its own now, but I mean it more in the literal sense that bodybuilding for a while gave me an eating disorder. And actually, even if we start there, let's not even wait around here. If you lift weights, and you lift weights seriously, and you have some kind of nutrition plan, you probably do have an eating disorder. Like me, for example, I'll be on a train, not lately, but I'll be on a train, and I'll see someone eating a Mars bar at 3 p.m. on a Thursday, and that to me is as fascinating as learning that ghosts are real. I'm like, that guy's eating a chocolate bar just on a random day. I don't do that. I have a very set time where I eat nice food. It's Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. That's my cheat meal. And then I'll eat whatever the hell I want. But, 6.5 days, I'm strict and I'm on plan. I still eat nice food, but you take my point. That's weird. That's not a normal way to live. And nor, as I used to do, is going out to the cinema with some chicken and cottage cheese in my bag, which I would eat. And I still do that to this day. That's a disorder to a certain degree if you look into what the word disorder means. So that's what I'm trying to get across here, like anorexia or bigorexia, which is a thing, or bulimia, whatever you want to classify in that category. If you're really, really, really struggling, and I did struggle, but not to any serious degree, please do go out and get help. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing to be ashamed of. It will tie into something else, and you'll be able to do it. Anyway, introductions. My name's Simon Miller. I love lifting weights. And yeah, a couple of years ago, I did a bodybuilding competition. Like we talked about this before, lost way too much mass, but again, I'd never done one before, and I was struggling to figure out how much cardio I needed. That's why usually your first one is a bit of a free pass. You learn, you educate yourself, and then you go do another. Maybe I will down the line, maybe I won't. We'll see what's happening. Either way, I followed the protocols to get in the shape that you need to be to do a bodybuilding competition. And what nobody told me after the fact, and this is the reason I wanted to make this video, because I was telling this story to somebody else. They're like, Simon, you should really get that message out there just in case somebody else encounters the same thing. And I'm like, hot damn, you're right. And yeah, what nobody tells you is when you are getting to this kind of 4, 5, 6% low body fat, or whichever you want to call it, you are basically in controlled starvation, where you are starving your body and maybe not getting the nutrients you need, but obviously it's controlled because you'll have a trainer and you're choosing to do it. It's not like you're stuck on the street with no food to eat. When you come out the back of that, and because you restrict your body from having so many things, you have to be so careful with what you're doing. Like, there's a term for it now, and of course it escapes my brain because the world hates me. But there is an official term for refeeding yourself. That's not the one. That means something else. But for doing that when you're coming out the other side, so essentially you don't have a massive rebound. And you can go onto Google right now and search for this. So many people do a bodybuilding or a fitness contest, and they rebound and put on a bunch of weight because they go crazy. And I'll give you my experience to tie into all of that. So I was convinced to do a photo shoot on the Saturday or so. My competition was on a Saturday. I think that was on a Sunday, something like that. So I did the competition, went out, had a pizza to go wahoo wahey. Didn't I do well? And then on Sunday or Monday, whenever it was, I went and did the photo shoot. And the reason I bring that up is that was enough to keep me focused on my diet. Again, had a teeny cheat meal, which I was told to do, then stick to it, low carbs, boring. As soon as that was done, I was like, I'm going to go to Starbucks. Don't know why, never go to Starbucks. I'm going to have a coffee. Don't know why, never have a coffee. Goes to show how crazy I was. And I'm going to have a muffin. And I think I had a muffin, and I think I had a smoked salmon sandwich and a big latte, and I was pretty happy. Then I went home that night, and I had some cookies. And I had some Danish pastries. And I bought those Danish pastries to eat before my competition to try and get my muscles all pumped up and, basically spike your sugar levels, blood sugar. We're not going to talk about it now. Different video. And I thought to myself, before I was going to go to bed, I'm just going to have one cookie. Just one cookie. I'm allowed. I don't have to worry about anything anymore. And as soon as I ate that cookie, what happened is my brain went, right, look, I haven't had whatever that was, sugar, in a long ass time. And I like that. That's why people are attracted to sugar. It kind of, your brain wants it. It sends signals. And it says, I'm terrified you're about to do what you just did over the last, 6, 8, 12 weeks. So I'm just going to send signals to you constantly saying, eat more of that, eat more of that. And what I'm doing, I'll hoard it just in case you try and starve me of it again. True story. Again, it may not happen to everybody, but it is a thing. And it was like a trigger food. And I mean that in the literal sense. No, not literal, but I just started eating. I started eating and I started eating and I started eating. And I think I'm speculating here. I worked it out at the time. It was basically within the space of about 90 minutes, I'd eaten about 3,500 to 4,000 calories. I'd eaten a box of cookies. I'd eaten Danish pastries. I'd eaten some peanut butter just out of the flipping tub. I was like, yeah, peanut butter, let's go. I ordered some food. And that was the weirdest thing. It was like a Just Eat or a Hungry Horse or a Deliveroo or something like that. Some guy this was late too. It was like 11 o'clock. And then all of a sudden, like at my door, I hear, I'm like, what the hell? And it was just food. And somehow in my crazed state, I just ordered some takeaway. I bet it didn't happen like that. I'm sure I was aware, but that's kind of how it felt like. And I remember it was just, it was almost uncontrollable. And as a man who was very, very dedicated and very, very disciplined when it comes to his food, like I can have stuff in my house and I don't want to eat it. Like I have chocolate and stuff, but if I don't want it, I just won't have it. To all of a sudden be in this out of control state was terrifying, to be honest, because one, I didn't know what was going on because I hadn't educated myself properly, but two, it really did feel like an out of body experience. And it kind of gave me a window into what other people must be dealing with. Like there was a time in my very, very younger days where I didn't look down on it, but I didn't really understand addiction, right? Because I'd never been addicted to anything. And I had sympathy, but you can't have empathy unless you'd been there. And again, while I'm not on the same level at all, as soon as this had happened, but oh my gosh, I completely understand how people get in those states. Because again, I was just ravenous and there was no amount of food that I wasn't going to eat. And I wasn't even really choosing to do it. It was just happening. It's like I got on, someone had just come around and picked me up and I throw myself in the car. And odds was we were going to wherever the hell our destination was. I woke up the next day, flipping hell was I bloated, because of course I was. I went from eating, hardly any salt or sugar or carbs or anything to just completely overdoing it. I kind of rolled out of bed like, roly-poly man. Just rolled into the toilet. Like, oh, what am I doing? It's horrible. I felt like crap, and my poor stomach was so elongated, whatever the word would be, because it was just storing all of this stuff, trying to process it. Especially at that time too, because I would have shrunk my stomach. My stomach wasn't ready for that. So, I got through it. There was a couple of other times where I struggled a bit but that was more of a mental thing as I balanced back out, right? Because of course I wasn't in neutral then. I was in, again, controlled starvation or whatever you want to call it. And it took a couple of months and I was back to I can eat whatever I want and, I don't have to worry too much. But that can happen. And again, when I started thinking about this, I thought it tied into the bigger story when it comes to weightlifting. Why do you keep moving? Which again is try not to get too obsessed with it because it can take over your life. Dedication is different. People often say dedication to obsession, but you can be obsessed with something and that's okay. But as long as it's fueling you to a good place and as long as it's keeping you positive, you don't ever want to drag yourself down. Like I would never not do another bodybuilding competition again in case I went through a round 2 of that. I'd be more aware because I have the experience and it wasn't all that bad. It was bad at the time, but again, I got through it quite quickly and I talked to the right people that I needed to talk to figure out what to do. But you don't have to be taking it to that extreme to let it knock you off your perch, right? Again, the whole 2 to 3 hour eating thing, way back in the day where I was told that was king and you must eat every 2 to 3 hours. I mean, it's good. It's a plus to do it because it will help your metabolism. You keep something ticking over, you keep the fires lit, and it will operate better. But I remember I'd be driving along and I'd just pull over and go into a service station, a garage, and just drink some milk. It's like, you've got to get calories in, otherwise you're going to burn muscle, which is just not how it works in the slightest. But it goes to show how your mindset and your brain can kind of get distracted by the wrong thing when really we're all doing this for health and fitness. That's what it's called. It's called health and fitness. And fitness, when you actually look into it, is meant to be a plus. It's meant to make you feel good. It's meant to make you happy. So try not to let it steer you too far off the wrong path. And it still happens now, of course. Like, I'm not going to say that I never binge. I guess this kind of ties into binge eating to a certain extent. We all do that. Sometimes it ties into hormones. Sometimes it ties into emotions. Obviously, when you eat nice food, like, good chemicals are released in your brain, dopamine, and you start to equate the two together. It's never a good thing to do. So that happens to everybody as well. So don't beat yourself up either if you're doing that. But yeah, if you are getting to those kind of crazy, super strict areas, know that you are going to screw up your hormones because you're starving yourself. So your body will start to try and counteract that. But there is a post plan to it all as well. You can't just wake up the next day and start eating whatever it is that you used to eat before that. And it's one of the reasons why it sucks so much. Like, ignore all the bollocks that you see. Walking around at 4, 5, 6, even 7, 8% body fat is no fun. Well, it depends on your genetics, obviously. But it really, really is no fun in general, the general sense. Because you're not meant to be walking around looking like that. You look amazing on the outside, but inside you probably feel like a sheep, like a wounded lamb. You're like, oh, I don't want to be here. So, again, it's so easy to go on Instagram, for example. We've talked about that before. But it's so easy to go on Instagram and see these people and go, oh, man, I want to look like that. But it's not, again, it's no picnic. It's no picnic whatsoever. And talking about a picnic, wouldn't you much rather just go out looking kind of jacked and have a lovely sandwich? Of course you would. And there you go. Just a story I thought I'd throw out there. Hopefully it helps you. If not, hopefully it was interesting. Just trying a bunch of things on my YouTube channel at the moment as we are in lockdown. See what works, what doesn't work. Again, let me know in the comments below. What else do you want to hear? Genres, ideas, stories, just talk to me about it and we can get there. Like the video, share the video, hit that subscribe button, massively important. Turn on the bell. I said this in the other video the other day. I get emails all the time from YouTube. No one's clicking your bell. I'm like, sounds sexual, YouTube. You've got to stop it. And on my quest to actually make something of this, patreon.com/Simon Miller 316 is what's holding me up. On Twitter, on Instagram at Simon Miller 316. Again, let me know all your tells below and we can have a little bit of a chat. And I guess I'll see you soon.